Hi everybody, welcome to Dunbar Academy Quick Tips. I'm Jamie Dunbar, and today's quick tip is about the handiest tool in dog training. The best dog training tool is the one you have with you, and there's one tool most people have with them at all times. That's right, it's your hands. They're incredibly useful and effective if you know how to use them. But you have to be aware about how you use your hands. Otherwise, your dog may learn to dislike your hands and try to avoid them, which is a recipe for disaster. The most basic training you can do with your hands is classical conditioning. Basically, you just feed your dog pieces of food by hand, one at a time, in the presence of some sort of stimulus. Feed them enough pieces of food and they'll learn to enjoy the stimulus. This stimulus could be a person, a place, a sound, or anything really. It's especially important to do this around things that dogs are likely to become sensitive or fearful towards. You can also use your hands to teach your dog off and take it. Simply take a piece of food and put it in your closed fist, like so, and hold it in front of your dog and say off. If your dog touches your hand, just wait until they stop. Then open your hand and say, good dog, take it. As they get better, you can ask for longer and longer offs before giving the food. You'll also want to teach your dog to take the food gently. Feed your dog pieces of food, but if they hurt you, say ow, and don't let them have the piece of food. You don't have to scare them or shout, just act hurt. Repeat as necessary and they'll quickly learn to take food gently. The real magic though is with lure reward training. Using a handheld piece of food as a lure to get your dog to move their body into the location and position you want. Luring a dog with food is all about the smell, so if you're having trouble getting your dog's attention, you want to hold the piece of food like this, or this, and put it in front of your dog's nose so they can get a good whiff. Once they've got the scent, you can move your hand and the dog's nose will follow. Move your hand up and back over your dog's head and they will lift their nose to follow and their butt will go down and they will sit. With practice, you can lure your dog to lie down, stand up, roll over, and do a variety of useful behaviors. Then, when they do what you want, you can give them a piece of food as a reward. But here's the tricky thing. You don't want to get into the habit of giving them the piece of food you used as a lure. Your dog needs to learn that just because you are using a food lure doesn't mean they will get a food reward. And they need to learn that just because you don't seem to have food doesn't mean they won't get a food reward. The best way to do this is by luring your dog with an empty hand and rewarding your dog from a pocket or a hidden cache of treats. As soon as you've lured your dog once or twice while holding a piece of food, you'll want to try it again without any food in your hand. Your hand will still smell like food, and if it looks like you're holding food, that will be enough to lure your dog. Then, when your dog does what you want, you can reward them with a piece of food from your pocket. Pretty soon, your dog will learn to watch your hand motions, regardless of whether there's any food around. You can stop pretending you're holding on to food and gradually transition to hand signals that are based on the luring motions your dog has already learned. If you're having trouble getting your dog's attention without a piece of food, you can try rubbing your fingers like this, or quickly wriggling your fingers to make them more exciting, or snapping, or tapping, or clapping. On the other hand, if your dog is overly excited, you want to make slow and deliberate movements to help them stay in control. Whatever you do, don't use your hands to physically manipulate your dog's body when you're training them, as that will quickly undermine your dog's ability to learn the behaviors for themselves. Finally, you want to ensure that your dog never has a reason to dislike your hands. Classically condition your dog to enjoy being touched by your hands. Pet your dog and handle and examine every part of their body, hand feeding them pieces of food as you go. Similarly, you want to practice taking your dog by the collar and giving them a piece of food, so they learn to love it when you take them by the collar. To review, number 1, hand feed your dog to classically condition them to enjoy things that might scare or annoy them. Number 2, teach your dog off and take it gently. Number 3, lure your dog with a handheld piece of food, then with an empty hand. And number 4, classically condition your dog to like your hands and to like being petted and held. Thanks for watching Dunbar Academy Quick Tips. As always, if you want to learn more, go to dunbaracademy.com. I am Jamie Dunbar, and we'll see you next time.